Apretado.
Que ha petado, que no suena nada. ¡Dios! ¡Dios! ¡Oh, no, 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 no! Hello there everybody, and welcome to the ultimate Undertale Deltarune challenge community Iceberg. In this video you'll find a lot of information about challenge running in Undertale and Deltarune community, fan games, challenge runners, dramas, and many other things surrounding this big old cube. Just a quick note, this Iceberg was made originally by Minus and Opera, but then after 2 years many new entrants were added by me and Minus. And before we begin, a little reminder of what an iceberg is. Basically, the top of the iceberg has the most known information, and as it goes, the information will become more obscure and less known. And if you're interested in the challenge community, you can join Undertale and Deltarune challenge community Discord server, or UDCC for short. Many people from that server helped to make this video reality, so totally optional, but we'd be appreciated if you join the server. The link will be in the description below. With that out of the way, let's get started.
Merg is the most famous Undertale challenge runner among the community. Sans, 16 million views. Bad Time Trio, 10 million views. 2-segment Flowey, 17 million views. We will talk about these challenges in the future, and he still plays Undertale fan games to this day and occasionally does challenge runs. Truly the OG legend to be inspired by. Delta Traveler is a Deltarune fan game created by Violet Bunny. It's about Chris, Susie, and Ralsei travelling around the multiverse to find a way back home. The game has 3 sections as of writing this video, and all of them have a lot of content in store for the player, but the reputation among the challenge community wasn't the best, to put it simply. Undertale Last Breath, or ULB in short, is one of the most popular fan games that fall into the category of Sans fights. The story involves around Gaster helping Sans to stop the genocide route. The OG version of the fight has 3 phases, but the current one has 2. It has many takes that all vary in quality, and most of the time they are either almost impossible to no-hit or completely impossible. The current owner, Faz, and his team plan to make a new canon version of the AU. One of the most classic no-hits in the challenge community, and getting it is not as hard as it seems. Of course, when you first fight him you panic and don't even understand what's happening, but after tons of practice it will be a piece of cake. It's fair and challenging at the same time. Dust Trust is an AU about swap sands killing everyone, that's all you need to know. Now more interesting stuff. This AU is probably the most controversial AU ever, with many fan games, many conflicts, many cancellations, many threats, and so on. It tends to be one of the worst fan games ever to one of the best fan fights ever. It tends to be really easy or extremely hard, but one thing is always consistent. Most of the time it never gets finished. Right now, there are 4 popular takes that probably have a slight chance of getting finished in the future. X, Rad Revision, Finale, and Hour. Undertale Yellow is a fan game that tells the story about the 6th human soul that fell into the underground Clover. The game was created by, you guessed it, Undertale Yellow team. It's a full game with 3 different routes like Undertale. The game has many fans and it's universally known. But the biggest criticism the game received was balancing issues with final bosses, especially Flowey in his 2nd phase. Merg's 2-segmented Flowey no-hit is one of the first videos that proved that Flowey no-hit was possible. While the first person to do it unsegmented was Andrilek, Merg will say that this no-hit is about learning multiple combos of attacks and praying you don't get impossible ones. And truth be told, these words still hold up to this day. TS Underswap, one of the biggest and most anticipated Undertale fan games that has ever come out, created by Team Switched, hence the name of the game. A unique take on an AU Underswap where character roles and personalities were swapped. However, this game only swaps their role in the story and not their personality. It has a demo of 2 zones at the moment of writing this video, and the game has already been universally loved by the fandom. TS Underswap length already reached Undertale Yellow length, and even the balancing was nice. How cute. Bad Time Trio by Makato No Hit is the most well-known fan game challenge in the Undertale community, and it's easy to see why. Popular AU, and it simply looks cool to see 3.5 minutes of perfect movement. It's balanced, fair, and anyone can do it. Same as Sans No Hit. Unfortunately, the game is now deleted from Game Jolt. Undertale Project Spacetime, or PS Undertale in short, is the most recent fully finished fan game created by Spacey that explores AU Undertale in its full glory. Basically Undertale but in space. It has a lot of differences from the original Undertale with many cool new ideas in the story and mechanics. And an interesting fact, the game had open beta testing, and because of that it's actually possible to do full game runs on it. Let's hope this trend will continue. Full game runs. Full game runs are an essential part of the Undertale and Deltarune challenge community. It's basically completing the game or chapter without taking any damage. The best players in this sphere are, let's talk about them later as they are legends, but for now we can say that the hardest and humanly possible challenge in Undertale is Neutral No Hit Run, and in Deltarune it's Trackabart Peak. Yeah, let's leave this for later as well. The hardest challenge that can be done in the original Undertale has 4 phases and requires skill and most importantly luck. It was thought to be completely impossible. And yes, the damage in this attack is not forced damage. With luck, it's possible to no-hit, and Merg's video wasn't giving hope either because he couldn't do no-hit phase 2 or phase 4. But someone did it, and this person was Enox. Enox is the iconic figure in the Undertale challenge community. He was the first person to complete Undertale Genocide no-hit, 2 Speed Sands no-hit, and of course Asriel Full Fight no-hit. He made a huge impact on the community and inspired a lot of people to do challenges that he did and create better strategies. And he's also cracked in other games.
NHC or No Hitter is the first Undertale community challenge server that was created in 2021. It was basically the beginning of everything, but due to poor moderation and a lot of dramas which will go into depth later will force everyone to move to the server we all know today, the DCC, the most safe place for Undertale and Deltarune challenge running. Another event is an event where a bunch of fans gather to see new upcoming fun games, basically like Nintendo Direct, but it even has its own lore, big animation and little side plots. Although the last another event will be this year and it appears to be one of the biggest things that the community will ever see. Moros is one of the most famous Undertale challenge runners. He has done numerous achievements like Keep Tail No Hit, Chaos and Azzy Base No Hit, After Grip Bezwan No Hit, and many more. He also has become a beta tester for many new Undertale fan games like Call of the Void, Plague Stay, and Undertale Last Breath. Oh, how could I forget? He's the first person to complete Dastra Space 2 by FDY. Wait, who is FDY? FDY is a Chinese creator who made a bunch of Undertale fan games, and they all have one common thing. They are really hard, and usually it's unfair difficulty with a lot of RNG being involved. Many examples of this are Dastra Space 4, Oversaved Muffet, and Undertale Last Breath Phase 3. One of their earliest games are Oversaved Sons, Button Trio, and Detail. Shanghai-Vania, made by CYDCN, is perhaps one of the most popular Undertale fan games that has ever come out. It's famous because, well, there's an edgy innocence with a blood and he destroys us with a really hard attacks, and there's nothing more to say really. At least this game doesn't have RNG problems like we mentioned with FDY games. So it's one of the first and famous challenge runners that's done many challenges, but the most insane thing about them is that most of them were first evers. It will be phase 3 no-hit, Shanghai-Vania no-hit, Distrust, phase 1 no-hit, Neutral no-hit run, and many more. She creates other content as well apart from Undertale. The creator of Cop mod, Seal's collection of things, and Under Creator. Also does trust. Wait, who is that guy? Sean has indeed done many stuff, to be exact of writing this 255 no-hits, 68 no-hills, and in total 458 videos about Undertale and Deltarune. And of course, big reaction videos as well. And as mentioned, Sean appeared in big game by Seal, That's Trust. And of course, having probably the most popular YouTube short about Undertale challenge, Angry Sans, an attack, 10 million views. You have seen it. The XP Sans no hit is perhaps one of the most hardcore and stupid achievements you can do in base Undertale with modified speed. Phase 1 is just faster now, which makes some attacks way harder, but nothing that serious. While Phase 2 has shadow attacks and gaster blasters, and the most of the time they're almost impossible to react. That's what makes this challenge a living hell. Only 2 people have done it. We mentioned Inox, but another person who did it will be later mentioned in the Iceberg. Snotty is one of the most insane and bored players that the challenge community has ever seen. Her first videos were about Terraria. Pretty good start. Then out of nowhere, sudden changes phase 1 no heal, and so that's how she started her career. Many first evers, little time to do in challenge, so many impressive challenges, it's really hard to choose one to talk about. She also created many fun games with actually fair difficulty, although she deleted all of them from GameJolt. Probably one of the most misleading no-hits ever. Ridiculous LNG combined with awful hitboxes and with no cutscene skip will make your life miserable while doing this. From the first time seeing it, you will think that it's actually easy, but it's not. The first person to achieve this was Seal, and it took them 50 hours. What an insanity. SP Dustale is an alternative version of legendary AU Dustale with a quite interesting popularity gain. Nobody even knew this AU existed until one video decided to bring it up. Based Guy's video about all Dustales gave SP Dustale such an insane boost in popularity that it will probably never be stopped. Numerous fun games about Sans fighting the human with zombie Asgore and Flowey, the universe of the AO began expanding more and more, and it doesn't plan to stop anytime soon. TK or Taki Tukuten, in full it's simply the GOAT. They managed to accomplish many absolutely insane challenge achievements, like Beetle SP Phase 2 no heal, Astel Phase 3 no heal, and Edge no hit. And apart from that, they helped a bunch of people with debug modes for FDY games and with thumbnails. They are also a really nice person in general. They even made an Undertale fan game that's possible to no hit. Simply chat. Bilibili is basically a Chinese YouTube. A bunch of Undertale challenge runners and creators upload their videos there. That's where a bunch of information stuff can be found. In terms of creators, we have CY, DCN, Zaza, and previously mentioned FDY and many other creators. And there are so many Undertale challenge runners. I will name a few. Wild Astriel, Little Noob, Summit. If you're bored, you can check out Bilibili. Maybe you will find something interesting. And believe me, there is always something interesting.
You probably already saw one of their videos, but we'll take a look into 2 specific ones. Zenith Martlet no-hit and Metaflowy no-hit. Wow, great achievements! And first evers too. Surely these runs are legit, right? Yep, these 2 runs that have thousands and millions of views are cheated. These videos were created using a TAS, tool-assisted speedrun, basically a robot. Inhumane movement, audio problems, game speed, and many other things got spotted in the Martlet no-hit, and considering the fact that Martlet was their first no-hit says it all really. Metaflowy no-hit also has a lot of weird suspicious movement as well, and the next video after it was also created with TAS, so it proved that Martlet and Flowey were also cheated. The video was about a Deltarune fan game, Mike Malware. The video is slowed down and it's really easy to spot. It happened because of TAS. Also, the name of the video doesn't mention that it's a no-hit, which makes it even more funny. Point is, don't cheat in games, even if it's a small community like Undertale challenges. You will always get caught, no matter what. More details are in Sill's video, which will be linked in the description. The most popular fan game made by the Chinese creator that has been completed without getting hit, and it was a rough history of making this run possible. The first task of this game was created by Made for Mario and he got a -2 run. The Fell Sans attack has this moment right here and it was assumed to be impossible to dodge, until Sill found the strat which involves aiming Gaster Blasters away then going. And yeah, it's a TAS dodge. It's a perfect dodge or else you get hit. And as previously mentioned, Sill will achieve the first ever no-hit done by a human, and it will be achieved again many days later by Salty Lily. And after that, this no-hit will become one of the most popular hard no-hits to ever exist. Also, a special shout out to one of the people who will later be mentioned in this Iceberg, Danny the Pro. Shanghai Vania was his long goal and he managed to achieve it after many months of playing. Always believe in yourself and your lucky day will come. Boss Him is the most recent new figure in creating Undertale fan games. They tend to be hard but not completely unfair, unlike FDY. Although most of his oldest games are gonna be forever impossible to beat, just look at this beautiful Undertale Last Breath right here. But recently, a lot of challenge runners, including Sill, got interested in these games and a lot of things have been done, like Underworld and Little Deal Remake Phase 1 no-hit, as well as Ink Sans Phase 1 no-heal and VHS Sans Phase 2 and 3 no-heals. And it seems like both Boss Him will stop making games in the future, and challenge runners doing incredible things in these really cool looking games that are unbalanced. Let's stick to the same topic. The creator of Shanghai Vania, ZY, made one of the hardest no-hits to ever exist in the Undertale challenge community. By the way, he probably created like 4 more of those. The biggest problem with this challenge is that it has both parts of a hard run. Horrendous RNG and insane precision. If you get unlucky, restart. You messed up just a tiny bit, restart. And that can go on forever. The first person to do this was Little Noob. It's a whole different level of determination to achieve something like this. Even the most skilled players are afraid of this challenge. Also, another special shout out to Inferno Blast 261. Bro managed to no-hit this fight after 67 hours. What a chad. Gon was, and still is, one of the active players in UDCC. The most well-known thing that he did were the Deltarune no-hit runs. First ever Deltarune ACAB run no-hit, that's all chapters, all bosses. And Tracker Barpig? What is that? Well, it stands for True Reset, all chapters, all bosses, all recruits, true pacifist ending, extended glitchless. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. And this run is 3 hours long. Can't wait to see this run with all chapters when they release. And he also made a lot of guides for Deltarune as well. If you wanna start running Deltarune, you can check out his guides, they will be in the description as well. XTL Maker. Noob. Okay, but for real though, he's a cool player with a lot of potential. Being a Nugent in this community, he has already done Zenith Martlet and Ending Tail full fight no-hits, and the Deltarune ACAB no-hit run. Subscribe to him, he's like the only Undertale challenge runner that I know who made the face reveal. What a noob. Undertale Yellow Vengeance route no-hit. The most recent and probably the hardest full game run that has been done in any fan game. Vengeance route is basically the genocide route, by the way. Not only do you have to deal with Zenith Martlet, but also with Geno Martlet, Saroba and Axis as well. And all of that with regular encounters. Nobody thought that this would ever happen because of insane skill and luck that is required to make it possible, but someone did it. And that person is Brutal Sword. Appeared out of nowhere, completely unexpected, and everyone was in shock, and completely deserved. He also helped out the community. He made a practice mod for Undertale Yellow. Wait, what? Practice mods? They are an essential tool in challenge running, and Undertale is no exception. The mod God Home by Sill allows you to fight any boss and enemy. It's even allowed for regular boss no-hits. Or how about the previously mentioned Undertale Yellow control tool, which doesn't allow you to fight regular enemies, but allows you to practice any boss and any of their attacks. That makes some challenges way more doable because of it. There's even an official PS Undertale practice mod in-game made by Spacey himself. And how could we forget about Deltarune, which has a variety of mods like Creature mod or Fun Mode Chaos Edition, which allows you to practice Jevil. It's always cool not to waste minutes just to practice something, am I right? Wait, I mean this? Alright. Nurse, a Romanian speedrunner and world record holder for many Deltarune categories, joined UDCC somehow and became one of the reasons for the great voice channel revival in the server, and also supports everyone by saying GG's in many channels, which later Maker will steal and support as well, has done Chapter 2 Snowgrave and all recruits no hit, and who knows, maybe he'll do some more full game runs in the future since he's a speedrunner. Also the guy who used Runbrox that can softlock you in no hits. The fan game that has a similar concept to Undertale Yellow. A story about a human that fell into the underground before Frisk, but this time it's about two humans, integrity and perseverance. The game has had a really rough history of development and still hasn't released yet, but right now it has a demo and it was recently showcased in Underevent 2024. The project looks really promising, especially for challenge runs, so that's why it's in the Iceberg. Asatsu is perhaps the most popular Japanese Undertale challenge runner, having 80,000 subscribers. And that happened because they were one of the first Japanese people to ever upload their videos on YouTube and not Bilibili. And of course everyone starts with something. And they started with Undertale, but then 2 videos are about their or someone else's trip. But then only Undertale challenge running. All FDY games completed, Edge Sans no hit, which is harder than Delirium of Eons by the way, and Azrael no hit. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. Get it? Just A Lazy is one of the first people to ever record and create content about Undertale fan games, but his success and popularity came from beating all FDY games up to date, the 28th of July 2021, and he was one of the first people to beat some of them as well. But although he had patience to beat all these hard FDY games, he doesn't have patience to do no-hit challenges, which he mentioned multiple times throughout the history of his channel. He still creates content to this day and I wish him luck. He even sus his microphone, which I find really cool.
I didn't want to notice the problems around me. And yet, there is something I simply cannot miss.
It's pretty rare to see something like this.
Made for Mario is a challenge runner within the community, one of a few current elements within the Undertale and Deltarune challenge community Discord server, as of writing the script. He is also well known in the Mario community, especially Super Mario Odyssey, and does test runs of these games, but also for Undertale and Deltarune as well, such as the 2409 Deltarune Chapter 1 test. Wait, test? As we already mentioned, Test is basically a robot, but there is more to it. A tool assistant speedrun superplay or a test is a speedrun or playthrough where each input is precisely recorded through the use of external tools, such as video game emulators, in order to construct a perfect run, with no mistakes and the best possible RNG, beyond the limit of what is humanly possible. The test community consists of matters to make test runs in order to show what perfection looks like, and there is a test community for various games. For Undertale and Deltarune challenges, these people may make a test to show a no-hit run of something far beyond what humans can achieve. For instance, no-hit hard mode by Time Trio by FDY. Some well-known members of the test community for Undertale and Deltarune challenges include Made for Mario, I Am an Issue, Razia, and Sil. Sil used to have a channel a few years ago called QCV, and back when Sil was QCV, they were a lot worse and the channel came with a lot of drama. I'm not going to mention much here, since Sil already has a video explaining everything about what they were like when they were QCV. However, just know that after all the drama, they deleted their old channel, and between the time they deleted their channel and created the Sil channel, they changed greatly and proved that something like this was even possible on YouTube. However, some of the damage was never recovered. For instance, the speedrun.com ban still exists, as the moderators refused to unban Silly even after they fully changed. FDY is well known for making very difficult fan games like we already said, so naturally, some players try to complete all of them to show their mastery over FDY games, and some have succeeded, for instance Salty Lily. Doing this is very difficult, as the unfair patterns make completing many of the games a challenge run in of itself, requiring the players to dodge as many things as they can to have enough HP and items to survive until the end. There are numerous of UI games that are equivalent to an elite tier or even a mythic tier challenge run that must be completed and majorly contribute to why so few people have achieved this, such as Last Breath Phase 3, Dustel Sands Phase 3 and especially Dust Trust Phase 4. Likon is one of the creators of this video and the guy who are watching right now, the guy who are listening right now, and the newest challenge runner within the community, only joining in August of 2024, and I have done many difficult challenge runs since then, notable ones being Keep Tail Sands No Hit, Aggressors Full Fight No Hit, and Swaffle Papyrus Full Fight No Hit. And I'm also currently trying to complete all of the UI games. Yeah. And I don't know when I'm gonna do Detail No Heal and Angry Bird Space though. This mainly refers to how two of Undertale's three main routes were now hidden, Genocide and Neutral, both being some of the hardest challenges the game has to offer. Genocide was done a while ago by Enox, first before the modern challenge community was formed, and Neutral was done by Sil first. True Pacifist is the only route that has not been no-hitted due to the insane RNG required on Ezreal after no-hitting a harder version of Neutral, including a True Lab. Normally you would do an aborted Genocide run to skip most bosses except for Undyne the Undyne, Asgore and Flow in Neutral, but for obvious reasons you cannot do this for True Pacifist. This can also refer to Undertale Yellow, which has a similar thing of two of the main routes, Vengeance and Pacifist, being one of the hardest challenges humanly possible, while the other, Neutral, is not due to the heavy RNG required for Flowey, mainly Phase 2. Queen is an Undertale challenge runner who has done a lot of first evers in many fan games, and although he hasn't done many hard challenges, he made a huge impact on the community. He worked as a writer and tester in many Undertale fan games, and he knows basically almost every important figure in the Undertale community as a whole. By the way, he works on 131 Undertale fan projects. Insanity. Zaza is a well-known Chinese fan game developer who has made many fan games within the community, such as Afterglory, Undertale, and the well-known Undertale. These fan games often just consist of a sense fight or equivalent, tutorial in the case of Undertale, for each alternate universe or AU, and he didn't necessarily create the AUs themselves. Each of these fan games are commonly no-hit or no-healed by challenge runners due to the fact they are well made but also difficult. In some cases, these fan games have literally created memes within the community, such as ending Tails Attack 3 on Phase 2 after someone lost 2 no-hit to it. From its precision, it started glazing it like mad, causing the community to tag along. I wonder who's that? Ending Time Octet is an absolutely insane AU where you find 8 senses, and I repeat, 8. There are OST videos, official fan games with different faces so far, and absolutely insane animation. Holy, look at this! And the lore of this universe is insane too. Gesser just summons 8 different senses to fight against Kara from Murder Time Trio, who has 9,980 LV. And throughout the whole fight, many senses die in the process, and because of that, Gesser summons more senses to help, even summoning Disbelief Papyrus and Revenge Papyrus. As of writing this AU has 6 phases and it continues to grow. Fans truly love creating insane stuff like this. Coca-Cola is a member within the community who is mostly known for their fan games they made, such as Hide and Seek, Ending Sunrise Trio, and the Speed Dust Tale Necroptosis. But their most interesting game is your Nightmare Kara fight. It was a massive collaboration with many other huge creators like Zaza, Waller, Ars and Injected. It also introduced a worldwide leaderboard, which shows the best results of each player's completion, basically who has the most HP. Besides creating fan games, they also do challenge runs and complete difficult fan games. For instance, an all-heal run of the unofficial Phase 2 of Afterglory Sense by Injecting, which is very unbalanced. Coca-Cola also is one of the few members of the community to upload their videos on Bilibili. ZDCN or ZY is another well-known Chinese fan game developer who makes very difficult fan games like Shanghai, which you already mentioned, but some people decided to create harder fan games inspired by ZY. Notable examples include Delirium of Aeon, Silent Echo and Edge of Destiny Sense Fight. While many of these games sometimes have challenge runs done on them, such as Delirium of Aeon, Silent Echo, No Heal from Salty Lily, one of these hard mode UI games stand above the rest, that being Edge. Edge is a well-known fan game within the community that has many challenge runs done on it, along with being considered by many to be the hardest challenge run on the sheet as of now if you manage to know he did it. In fact, one person even became known for Edge, more specifically Lost Edge, which is a setting for the fight, but makes it entirely different and even harder than the game already is. That person is Mossfinder.
This refers to FDY's take of Dust Rush, where Phase 2 or normal mode was impossible for the longest time until recently, where someone called Eventier was able to complete all attacks. Even though it is segmented, it has proved that the fight is theoretically completable by a human being. The segments were done between each here, resulting in 6 segments total. Some segments were easier to do, such as segment 6 or the end of final, which simply requires you to follow a pattern, whereas others, like segment 2, were much harder due to the insane amount of damage you get from the booms, and this combined with the rest of the attack essentially requires you to brute force it to have enough HP to survive until the next seal, while having the skill and getting lucky enough to not instantly lose the run to one of the books. The Asyard, also known as Asyad, also known as LeBron James, is a challenge runner who has done numerous challenge runs, both full game and single fight. He is the second victor of Drakabard Peak as well. However, perhaps his greatest accomplishment is that he managed to complete every single Grandmaster challenge in the UDCC sheet. The currently ranked Grandmaster challenges are the League of Asians No Hit, Edge No Hit, Edge Tail Third Run, and Drakabard Peg No Hit, which we covered earlier, and he has done all of them. He also likes no-hitting Flowey to the point where he did it over 70 times, along with a 1.5 XP no-hit, which is considered to be around Grandmaster tier if it were ranked. Recently, he started attempting no-hit Genocide and Neutral in one run as of writing this script. While FDY has created many difficult fights, not all of them were finished and the games were leaked. For example, there was an oversaved Tail Asgore fight, but it was never finished, and therefore the game does not exist within the current version of Oversaved Tail. Other examples of unfinished FDY fights include After Dust, Old Oversaved Tail Sands, and a fight based on SpongeBob. However, one unfinished FDY fight, Dust Rush Phase 4, is available in the full version of Oversaved Tail, but all the sprites were quickly drawn with MS Paint due to them not being finished. The other unfinished FDY fights can be accessed still, but it is quite tricky and requires different specific links. But if you know how to use Data Point Win, you can access them through it as well. Rhino was a challenge runner who has done a lot of challenges but never uploaded them on YouTube. He uploaded them on Telegram instead, a Russian social platform, but everything changed when he started grinding SP Dusty Necroptosis by Coca-Cola. He wanted to become the best Telegram player by doing this run. He didn't count Morris lol, but he couldn't do it, and what he ended up doing was stealing a video from Shogun. He cropped a Bandicam logo, and guess what? He got exposed by Declan the same day. After that incident, he dropped challenge runs completely.
I couldn't handle it. I understood that SP Dusttail Necroptosis is just impossible for me, especially Astardia, when my skills started dropping, and I realized that I can't do it. I decided to go the dark path. But with the intention of doing this in future, and forget about it, sorry that I tricked all of you, I just wanted to fly high, and in the end went out like a match.
And started developing his own community. That's a whole different story. After FDY released Oversaved Tail Mechaton fight, he would disappear from the community and it would be the last fight he ever made. Nobody knows why he vanished, but it's likely because of the toxicity of the community and the leaks of his unfinished fan games, which we discussed earlier. Not only that, but an unofficial version of Oversaved Tail was released to make the Mechaton and Mudfed fights possible with his permission, which could potentially have contributed to him leaving. Gatsby is a newer challenge runner joining UDCC at the start of 2024 and has since done many challenge runs, notable ones including Joke Tail no Hit, Ending Tail Full Fire no Hit, Shiki Aster Tail Unbalanced Mode, both phases no hit separately, and Aster Tail by Zaza Full Fire no Hit. Yeah, you can notice that he's the biggest Aster Tail fan, but also he prefers to do single fire no hits rather than full game runs. Recently, he also uploaded a tier list of ranking ending tail attacks by difficulty, a concept originally mentioned by Minus with multiple people including Minus, himself, Maker, Ananas, and Decon who helped bring it to life. There will be a second part where the attacks were ranked based on how cool they were, where Maker would upload it to his channel instead. He also started playing a lot of games created by ZY, and he plans to no-hit a lot of update games. Delta Traveler's Obliteration route makes no-hitting the section much harder and often cranks the RNG up greatly. While people have done section 1 no-hit obliteration route before, such as Gone, section 2 and 3 have not been done before. Section 3 could be done, but is very annoying due to several reasons, such the first bit of it being a solo fight with Chris. However, section 2 obliteration route is next to impossible as the RNG on normal encounters becomes extremely unbalanced. But even if you somehow manage to luck your way through the RNG, you have to deal with Paula and Ness, which in of itself the RNG on that fight makes no hitting it elite tier. Some people have done it before, such as Gon, Minus and Moras, but the whole route falls into the same category as Undertale Yellow no hit neutral and no hit through pacifist of having RNG too unfair to be doable by a human. Over the years, Dastra's fan games have changed in many ways, mainly the sprites and how many faces are included in each era. The first era was the Legacy era, which contained 5 faces. It was simple and straight to the point. There are various fan games based off this era, and they are often referred to as Legacy Dastras. The second era was the Reboot era, which is pretty unknown. This was when Legacy Phase 4 was removed and replaced with Phase 5, making the total amount of 4 phases. The next era was the Golden Era, which is the most well-known era. Most Dastras fan games are based off this era, and it also contains 4 phases. If you have heard of Dastras before or even seen any Dastras fan games, you very most likely would have seen a fan game from this era as your first one. However, the original game will be cancelled due to leaks, and this will result in different Dastras takes, such as Ari Dastras, which was debuted the Phase 3 with the speakers. There were many more different style Dastras games that will be created after the Golden Era, like Nikos Era and Didwos Era. But Canon Dastras right now is cancelled, and it seems like the ownership will forever remain in the hands of Didwolf, who has no interest in giving it to someone else. This simply refers to some of the hardest fan games ever made that have been beaten by a human. While one of them, Dastras Phase 4, is made by FDY, many other games exist that are around the same difficulty, if not harder to beat. Examples include NK Sash Remake and Edge, thus Edge Hazard level 6 at a setting that makes the damage in Edge, and therefore Lost Edge extremely high. Many of these games are often played more frequently by Bilibili runners, and the games themselves are also Chinese or Japanese. Skelly is a challenge runner who probably creates one of the best thumbnails for the videos you will ever see, and also he's a tester for many Undertale fan games. In terms of challenges he did, there are a lot of them. The hardest no-hits that he managed to achieve are After Glory Phase 1, Chaos and Acer Phase 2, and Undertale Genocide Run. From 8th of April 2024, they started to add Martet in their videos, and that became an icon of the channel. Initially, Skelly Sosi was just Crossbones Sans from TS Underswap, but recently, thanks to his friend and sprite Jackfella, he now has his own cool design. Sudden Changes is a game created by FDY, who previously mentioned makes extremely difficult fun games often, and Sudden Changes is no exception. No-hitting this is one of the hardest no-hits achievable, not only because of the attacks before final being extremely tight to dodge, along with the fact that the AU involves Sans having a gun and he's using it non-stop, but also the final attack, which requires quick calculations. Yes, quick calculations to no-hit, unless you want to try and win the lottery 7 times over. The reason the final attack requires quick calculations is that the bullets will be shown like normal, but then bones will spin, and along with it where the bullets will fire from. Then they will fire. This happens a staggering 20 times, so in order to dodge the bullets, you need to calculate where they will end up based on where the bones spin, and you do not have long to do this before they fire. This process is random too, meaning just guessing has extremely low odds of dodging the bullets 20 times in a row. The final attack is a major factor to why this challenge is almost Grandmaster tier, sitting at high mythic. RTF is a Korean fun game developer who has made many fun games, many of which are unbalanced and difficult to complete. One of his more notable fun games is the Rush E fun game, where you have to survive attacks synced to the Rush E piano track. He has also made many other meme-heavy fun games like the Monkey fun game. Additionally, his Harmon Sense fun game supposedly created the easiest Undertale fun game meme. RTF still makes fun games to this day and is trying to make them more balanced and no-hittable. For example, his newest Undertale Last Breath Phase 2 take.
Due to the balancing on many RTF games being terrible, beating the fights was chaotic but could be seen as enjoyable, which is exactly why Deltarune and Minus attempted the challenge of beating every single one together, half of the videos by Deltarune and the other half by Minus, and they succeeded. Deltarune, with the help of Minus, would upload a video to his channel after this, including every RTF completion video they made, and this would be the first time every RTF game was beaten. Palex has been a gambler since he was born, and of course a challenge runner within the community who has done many difficult runs, such as Shanghai Lavinia no-hit, completing F2I Dustros Phase 4, and most recently, Nehem Underfell Sands no-hit. He is also a skilled FNAF player. He would help debut the new sheet for the UDCC at the start of 2025, and the sheet manager role for people who would help. However, there would be controversy within the FNAF community, and Palex would get banned from the UDCC as well following this controversy, but this is probably going to be outdated once he's unbanned. I'm not going to go into the full controversy, but if you want to know, you can find a link to it in the description. This refers to an old channel that would contain some cheated runs, most notably Delirium of Aeon's no-hit, which is now unlisted. People were suspicious of this, along with the fact that Tomato UT was jumping to much harder challenges and making fast progress. The account would be banned from the UDCC later on, although the videos still exist on YouTube but are unlisted. This account was run by Larapra, Sonic Biscuit, and Minus. We're going to be talking about them soon, except for Sonic, he's just Sonic. Their main goal was to see if they would go to great lengths to prove it's cheated and add bigger verification methods for high-tier runs. Sonic was holding the account, and Lara was picking videos. However, Minus did not know much and mainly just knew the account. Danita Pro was a former challenge runner with the community who did numerous challenges such as Flowey no-hit, Shovel Survival no-hit, and Undertale Last Breath Phase 2 no-hit, and he also completed a lot of difficult FDY games. He would frequently post many PBs for challenges he did, sometimes up to 10 or more videos showing the progress he was making. However, by far, his best achievement was Shanghai Lavinia no-hit, which he spent 31 days on. After this massive accomplishment, he would lose interest with challenge running, stating he was happy with his achievement and quit. But he made a huge impact to the community while he was around, for example creating strats for Legacy Dustros Phase 5 by RTF. It is unknown whether he will ever return, although he has mentioned maybe doing challenge runs for Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4. This refers to an old era of the challenge runner Sean Does Stuffs, where he would upload reaction videos to different fan games. The videos would consist of Sean watching a playthrough of a fan game, and he would react to the video. There was also an era before the reaction videos era that was part of Sean's peak, where Sean and some of his friends would have a channel called JR Gaming Bros 23.
No idea how to build stuff, but I know how to build mansion, so I'm going to give it over to my friend Sean, and he's going to teach you how to build a brewing.
The videos were very old, and there were some Minecraft videos on that channel featuring Sean, who at the time was known as PicklePants24. This was touched on briefly during the FDY vanishing segment, but I will go into further detail here. Basically, the most recent updates to Oversave Tale included the OST Metaton and Muffet fights, with Metaton being FDY's last fight he would ever make. However, the fights would be so difficult that they were humanly impossible to beat, and this would result in an official version of Oversave Tale being created by Sugar, and not by FDY, which nerfed these fights to be humanly possible. The official version of Oversave Tale being released and played on could have possibly contributed to the disappearance of FDY. Players on Bilibili all share this one common thing where they do not do full game challenges, and instead focus on single fight challenges. This also applies to Chinese and Japanese runners, the people who use Bilibili, that use YouTube as well. However, there are some exceptions. For instance, some people like Saltily have a Bilibili account as well, to which they re-upload videos from YouTube, including full game runs that they have done. Additionally, there are sometimes full game runs on Bilibili, but they're usually cheated or spliced. For instance, a cheated no-hit neutral run that will be discussed later. But recently Toku, a Japanese challenge runner, managed to accomplish Deltarune Trek a Bart Peak no-hit run and upload it on YouTube. Baby steps have begun. Eden Studios is a fan game developer who used to be in UDTC and No Hit Tale, but they got banned because of many cheating accusations surrounding them. He has also made various fan games which were often remakes of other fan games such as the Toxin Sans Fight remake. These remakes would be different to the original, and the Toxin Sans Fight remake specifically maybe continued to finally include the phase 4 from the original game that was never finished. But the most important thing to know about Eden is that everyone treated them like a joke, because no one was taking them seriously. There would even be drama involving Eden and Cell, which we will cover later. There are some RTF fights that are very unknown, these games being Ink Sands, survival minigames and Undertale Battle Simulator, an Among Us fight, the latest version of Undertale typical fan game list, which no one knew it even existed, and Dust Nuts. There was also the Gaster remake, however this created by Eden as RTF asked him to remake his original Gaster fight. At some point, there was an explosion of Japanese challenge runners entering the scene, probably due to the official Japanese translation of Undertale. First it was through Bilibili, but then slowly they showed up on YouTube too. And it's not only about challenges, it's about music, games, and many other things. What's interesting is that the Japanese runners have their own style of quality thumbnails that is commonly used by them, but is entirely different to the Western thumbnails. Delta Traveler drama. This started after the Sill drama when Shay mentioned that the Undertale no-hit community disappoints me, but this was mainly said due to the criticism regarding the Paula and Ness fight. This caused a divide in No Hit Tale, and there was a clash between members from No Hit Tale and the Delta Traveler server. One of the moderators from the Delta Traveler server would join No Hit Tale and help clarify things as one of the mods, Blue, was being very childish about the whole situation. In the end, Shade joined No Hit Tale and would apologize, along with the fact that the Sill drama gave him a misunderstanding from its bad impression, concluding the drama. That was the final drama that happened in No Hit Tale, and basically was one of the massive factors in creating UDCC, and one of the members during this epic battle, Nat, was harassed a lot on the Delta Traveler server, and Shay gifted them a Twitch sub.
We should stop talking. All of you are criticizing for no reason. Please step away. You might as well give up. MFM tried to stop me. What makes you think you can?
He has me.
Darpra is an Undertale challenge runner who only has 7 videos about Undertale in their channel. What are those videos, you may ask? Well, just easy stuff like Sanchez no hit, Remaining no hit, Delirium Fails no hit, and the first ever no hit of BT Tail SP Phase 1 by FDY. Yeah, that guy is absolutely insane in the channel, only uploads hardcore stuff. But right now he's dropped Undertale for Slaughterhouse completion, while his hardest is at Medium Demon. Good luck, Darpra, I'll tell you that. This entry is really interesting because for a long time it was thought to be ZY Phase 2 or Fight, a game made about ZY where you fight ZY himself as the creator, Mason Lore. But then something strange happened. On the same day, the 31st of August 2024, 2 Undertale planned Phase 2 no-hits appear within 2-hour difference. Phase 2 has a lot of RNG, and I mean a lot of RNG, way more than most FDY games. It's that bad. And that begged the question, is it possible to do Phase 1 and Phase 2 no-hit in one run? Of course it's possible, but can a human have enough nerves and patience to do it? Maybe we'll find the answer one day. Maybe. This refers to the most famous Enox video, not only Undertale related, but in the history of his channel as well, Asriel No Hit. Nepesta, a Geometry Dash YouTuber, left a heartwarming comment congratulating him with victory. What Nepesta did? Well, he's the one who verified Kinos with his legendary and memeable reaction. Ananas is perhaps the most recent player in this Iceberg, the core of new-gen players, and he has done a bunch of cool challenges like ending Tail Phase 1 no-hit and Martlet Phase 2 no-hit. His greatest achievement in this sphere is Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2, all bosses no-hit run. But of course, the most legendary one is Baggy Sand's completion with 4 players. The whole night, Minus, Tlexen, XTL Maker, and him were trying to do this until it finally happened. And Ananas also plans to do all advanced challenges on the UDCC sheet. What's Tales of Under Legends? Well, to start, it's a cancelled Syl game which was made all the way back in 2021-2022. Back then, KSB, now known as Syl, posted a lot about this game. It was an insane collaboration with tons of YouTubers like Moros, Gon, Palex, etc. It was a massive project, but the guy cancelled it due to ambition. However, that wasn't the only reason. Alongside the ambition, there was also some insane drama around KSB that caused the game to be very hated. Even when the demo was released, it was pretty bare bones, it was very buggy, and now it's forever cancelled. But hey, the Bobber fight at least got into Syl's collection of things. That's something. Where they talk about Just a Lazy, but this is the name of his second channel. Well, it's not the actual name is Just a Lazy's. What kind of great content is here? Well, just some cool Valorant clips and that's it. Okay, but actually there were some Undertale clips, but they're gone now. The channel's probably forever dead, but it's still quite an interesting secret that not a lot of people know about. The Great Boys chat was an interesting thing that surely happened. A challenge runner named Minus decided to try to no-hit Deltarune Chapter 2 all bosses. At the beginning there was a small amount of people, but over time the boys chat began expanding more and more, to the point that it reached over 17 or more people. And that was it! The boys chat became alive again, and almost every day, people joined the boys chat at the end of the day to watch and have fun. All thanks to one Chubble Dude. Faker the Scener, or FTX in short, is one of the most recent controversial personas in the Undertale Challenge community. Appeared out of nowhere in Syl's Discord server, and to put it simply, he was really interested in her. Something that couldn't be said for Syl. Things went downhill after he joined UDCC, with him not knowing how to not act weird. Here's some messages right now as examples. He always kept saying how he had a crush on Syl, reminding everyone about that in his absolutely wild statuses in Discord, wanted attention on challenges that weren't even hard, once stole a thumbnail from Salty Lily, and even made some really sexual art that got up to 18 skull emoji reactions. Oh, and did I mention that Syl was 24 while Faker was 17 when all of this happened? Thankfully, he was banned in December of 2024 and has managed to move on with his life. At least we can appreciate this. We have already discussed that the Japanese community appeared out of nowhere, but one thing remained the same since they appeared. No one has done a full game run of any kind in original Undertale or Deltarune. But there was one full game run long before the Japanese community appeared on YouTube. It was a neutral full game run no hit from Bilibili. This run is the funniest thing to ever exist. First of all, the runner admits himself that he made cuts in the run, but that's not the most interesting thing here. The runner dates Papyrus, uses a punch card, gets 3 caster followers, gets Sans Ski, attacks Papyrus only then to spare him, they splice during Metaton's cooking show, and the funniest thing of all, placing SpongeBob clips during Flowey Fright. This goes even way deeper, but I will leave a link to the run in the description. This must be seen by everyone, I swear.
Russian challenge list is actually named Undertale/Deltarune Telegram challenge community. Telegram is a Russian social platform, but is also used in many other countries, but that's besides the point. The point is that it is a seed and leaderboard created by Drekon. Yes, the Drekon that you are watching right now. He's the main moderator of the seed and leaderboard. An MTXC, another challenge runner that plays on mobile phone. The leaderboard has 40 people as of writing this video, and it doesn't plan to stop anytime soon. It basically exists as its own thing for Russians who either don't want to join UDCC or they just don't know about its existence. It's a joke entry about the fact that most Japanese players either complete FDY games and no hit CY games and nothing else. But since this was a joke entry in 2023, everything changed since then. A lot of Japanese challenge runners are playing many other fan games outside of the Chinese and Japanese community and are slowly becoming more original. We already talked about how Undertale Last Breath Legacy Phase 3 no hit, what a mouthful, is but never discussed its other phases. Are they impossible? Well, they are possible. And Phase 2 no hit has been done by Undefeatable Escapist. Many people thought it's impossible, and people like Seal only did every attack up to final. But Escapist was brave enough to go for full fight and they did it. Well, Phase 1 has forever been forgotten in the Shadow Realm since its extreme difficulty. Undertale is an AU where you basically have to see only this one image to know. Should be grinding in Grinder, and then think about what it's all about. And FDY made a remake of Phase 1 and then they collabed with the creator of the AU to make Phase 2. But at the end of Phase 2 it says, Phase 3 is coming soon, but it never did. It was set to release in October 2022, but something happened. And what happened? Nobody knows. The only thing that was released is Undertale ESP version 0.92 by Sugar, a friend and a second coder for FDY. It had a lot of quality of life changes, but Phase 3 was forever forgotten. Caster Survival is a minigame in the fangame Unofficial Disbelief Virus by Cesar Andrade, which for the longest time hasn't been no-hitted due to the insane lag that is required to do the run. Seal and TY, another awesome challenge runner, tried to no-hit it in a race. Seal managed to only get 3 hit run and then they called it human limit? But after that TY managed to no-hit to prove that it is indeed possible. This led to Seal getting angry at it and tried to prove that TY's run was cheated, but it was never cheated and it was a false claim. After that another racer came in, gone. Yeah, that's me. I managed to get up one hit and after that Seal started streaming immediately, which led to Seal getting the second ever no hit and me getting the third ever no hit. Alright, this is gonna be a long one. So we already know both Seal and Super Eden, but their conflict began pretty long ago. Seal called out Eden by being a cheater, a liar, claiming first evers when the game was private, and claiming that his PC is too bad. Okay, let's see what this is all about. Seal claimed he was a cheater when in reality he just uploaded someone else's video of doing Delirium of Eon's Hell Mode no heal. Seal mistakenly confused two fangames, Special Mysterious and Rhythm Recall, to accuse Eden of getting first ever on a private game, and the cherry on top is that Seal said that he cheated completing Legacy Dust Trust Phase 1 by FDY because it was too laggy. Well, in reality, Eden could never complete it legitimately by this logic because the game will always lag. This conflict will also cause a massive event in the future, which we will be talking about soon. Javoyit was a very old no-hittel member and he had some controversial takes, but the problem began in the no-hittel venting channel where he brought up some sexual themes. Shortly after that he got banned and then rejoined on an alternative account in no-hittel. After pretending for a while, but at the end he straight up admitted it himself that it was his account and got banned right after. Fast forward to UDCC, The mods gave them a second chance and unbanned them, but they didn't realize that he had a Twitter account where he reposted a lot of racist, homophobic and transphobic tweets and posts, and shortly after that everyone found all that information, which led to him getting banned. The story continues as he was a suspect of being Tomato UT before Minus, Larapra and Sonic revealed who it actually was, and he made video compilations of UTCC and Untitled, proving he still had an alternative account, which made people think he was Tomato UT, but in the end it was a completely different account that was found recently, which also got banned. As for present day, he still has a Twitter account where he posts the kind of posts I talked about before.
Dust Trust Phase 2 by FTY is a pretty popular FTY game. And of course, one channel loved it so much that they made 10 billion videos about it. And that channel is Uber. When they completed it for the first time, they started doing everything possible in this game. Phase 2 no act heal, Phase 2 and 3 in one run, Phase 2 normal mode, many progress reports, 2 times in a row and many more videos about it. To the point where in his playlists you can find FTY Dust Trust Phase 2 compilations with almost every single compilation being there. And of course the most famous, beating Dust Trust Phase 2 with COVID-19. Absolute cinema. Who knows? Maybe he will be the first person to complete Dust Trust Phase 2 on normal mode. Like is a really interesting channel who still plays fun games to this day. For joining NHT, he used to steal thumbnails like FTX, and everyone reported those stolen thumbnails in the old NHT channel called reports, where people reported cheaters' stolen thumbnails. After Doug got called out, he changed them. But now we get to the major part of him, which is how he used to weirdly talk about Kara and had some pretty weird messages, with those messages weren't showing the fact that he's a pedophile, more like him being just not realizing what he was cooking, and also having really worst setups. Right now he's still active and he's no longer a misguided person, I hope. Ranked CV, or just Rack, was an HT member and commander of Undertale videos. He used to be friends with Rax, the old NHT mod who had some insane stuff, but basically Rack lied about their age, which he revealed in Seal's server, which is really bad because Rax and Rack used to have some really weird DMs, and Rax didn't actually know her age at the time she was 11, so Rax was unknowingly being a pedo. And also Rack fakes her suicide a bunch of time, and she was just a weird person in general. We have already discussed a GD player commenting under Enoch's video, but now how about a GD admin not being in the CC? Yeah, it's true. There they are. It's just another fun fact about how an Undertale, Geometry Dash and many other communities can be connected between each other. Alright, there are a lot of things to cover. Granati is a third victor of completing Undertale's brief Phase 3 no-hit. Before that he played Geometry Dash, and after that no-hit he continued to play Geometry Dash as well. A long time will pass and he will complete Tartarus, one of the hardest Geometry Dash levels and former top 1 Extreme Demon. Do you see where this is going? He thinks that ULB 3 is harder than Tartarus. Yeah, so ULB 3 is hard, but it's no way near the same difficulty as Tartarus. One requires a lot of luck and patience, while the other requires huge skills in Geometry Dash. Let's do this one more time. Eternal is yet another old NHT member. Now let's start. Eternal and Rax, don't mistake him with Rack, used to be good friends with each other. They talk frequently. Eternal, however, was suicidal and had many issues. Rax, being the guy he is, tried his best to help Eternal. However, Eternal didn't seem to be getting better. The Eternal was standing in front of the train. waiting to end it. Lux tries desperately to stop him, obviously. The next Eternal goes, "Sorry, I got scared so I jumped out of the way." It was probably the most fake story ever, so he got blocked by Lux. Sometime later, he started sending messages to a lot of people with different, let's just say interesting and disturbing stories that appeared to be completely false. He claimed he stole alcohol from his alcoholic parents, but only the alcoholic parents notice if their alcohol is missing, considering they can't live without it. He then changed his narrative to "I buy it from a store." A suicidal, drunken teenager is not capable of holding down school and a job. Not to mention the fact that his store's wouldn't even let him buy considering he's a minor. He then changes his narrative to "I get it from a private seller." See how terrible it sounds? And so he kept damning everyone until he got bored. Bryce Undertale was, and still is, one of the most legendary figures in UDCC. Started playing Undertale challenges during NHT era. He claimed a lot of challenges, such as Fly No Hit, which he did over 40 times, Frankhaven No Hit, Hard Mode Sans by Harry LTS, and many more. He was given a UDCC mod for some time, and also created a Shankhaven No Hit GUI. But everything will be changed shortly. He deleted his own channel with all challenges and videos there. He was honestly occupied with a lot of studies, so that was the reason behind it. And every single video that was deleted without any trace. He already tagged multiple times, so would hopefully will be play a lot of FDY games, but that's actually not the case as of today, because FDY hasn't made fan games already for 4 years, and Bilibili players started focusing on other games. But it stopped in Bilibili, but it didn't stop on YouTube. Many Japan players have done insanely difficult changes in FDY games on YouTube, so no matter when, FDY will never be forgotten.
And now I want a special guest to voice the next layer. Less than zero, it's your turn.
Dastra's Phase 0 is probably the most mysterious entry in the Iceberg due to several factors. First, it's made by FDI. Second, there's only one video about it that's not even on the FDI channel. Third, this is actually not Dastra's Phase 0, it's a part of Phase 3. And fourth, we don't even know if he's the one who recorded the game. We can kinda tell this is FDI playing the game because of horrible movement and the fact that it's recorded with Bandicam, but the video itself got probably to other hands, for example Sugar and Egg, okay? The uploader of Dastra's Phase 0 video could somehow get it. The game is basically the biggest lost media in the Undertale community, now due to only FDI having it and probably scrapping it in the process while not saving it anywhere. There are many recreations of Dastra's Phase 0, for example by Salty Lily. Yet another horrible person in Undertale, amazing server. Back in 2022 there was a person in Undertale who was talking about killing their old cat, but wait a minute, they weren't talking about killing it and it wasn't their cat, they actually killed the cat and it was his sister's old cat. Pretty messed up, it's gonna be a huge underestimation, and after that they said they were too depressed and alone for 3 years and that's why they killed the cat. Shortly after that he denied any help from therapists, nothing to add really. The most out of nowhere and insane incident in our favorite server, Nohitel. This happened on the 20th of May 2022, but what happened? Well, the sex thread was created, insert school emoji, a lot of minors were talking about sex, many people were involved, minors, Inferno Blast, Rox, who was a moderator and allowed this thread to exist in the first place. Sorry about the quality of the video, but you can see that it wasn't okay in the slightest and many people would get banned. The thread was closed after 1 day of its creation. Kids, help me do the math. How many dramas were in Nohitel? Answer is yes. By the way, Slenderman is a well-known pedophile who was caught both in the Undertale fangame community and in the Geometry Dash community, as well as harassed Sean and Duck in DMs. He told them to kill themselves and many other horrible things, but the most selfish act from him was gonna quote on here. The one thing that is weird is that Slender knew that my dog passed away like a month ago, and I only mentioned it in my status for a few hours, and here, Larapra and the Ezreal would help the Geometry community to expose him. Sail back in the no-hit tail days was really picky. We already discussed the situation with Ty and Gasser's survival, where Sail accused them of cheating because they simply couldn't believe that a run like this could be done. Or there was another situation where their laptop was simply too bad to run the game, or the situation with Gonzalo, a challenge runner not only in Undertale but also in many other games. They did Genocide no-hit run and Deltarune all chapters all bosses, and Sail falsely accused them of cheating. The arguments were very weak and everyone thought that Sail accused them simply because of jealousy. Only 2 drummers left now. Yahoo! He was mainly an active member of the Trusted server, an old fan game back in the No-Hit Tail days, and friends with many of the No-Hit Tail members, who was always talking about how much pain he's in. So basically the drama around him is that he was a part of the Trusted server, and he was friends with No-Hit Tail server members, and he faked cancer and was caught right as he faked his death. Now no one knows where he is. He deleted his burner account, which was an alternate account of his friend, to pretend he was dead. That's how everyone knew how he supposedly died, but his fake friend was so suspicious that the community connected the dots together based on how he acted and figured out it was him, and right after he was caught he deleted the account, and it all happened the same day. An event that will change the Undertale challenge community forever, the event that will serve as the first step in creating UDCC, and an event that's gonna change everything forever. After Seal uploaded their exposing video about Eden, TK, a friend of Eden, do not confuse them with the other TK, wrote a lot of paragraphs in No-Hit Tail in defense for Eden. After that, Seal wrote a lot more paragraphs in response. After that, a lot of QSP fans started invading FDY's Discord server to harass almost literally everyone, and then Dante and Kiran, 2 members of the FDI server, proposed a plan of calling Kiran to hack his PC by using a seemingly game, but it's actually a virus using game sharing channel. Teki and Eden, of course, were against this. Then QSP found out about this and was really worried about this. TK planned to invite Seal to the FDI server to show that he didn't plan to hack them, but then Seal gets invited by their alternative account, don't question that, to the FDI server. They started talking about the whole situation, and so Kiron and Dante get both banned from the FDI server, but it doesn't stop here, because after that Seal gets banned as well, the reason being that they were the ones who caused the drama in the first place. After that, Seal writes an entire freaking Invincible War paragraph about how the FDI server is dangerous and that users from there will try to hack you. Then after all of this, Seal was still scared for their life, so they give ownership to Gon, which will lead to deadly consequences because of Gon having the ownership of the server. Seal will get banned from No-Hit Tail after the Dust Till Death Genocide Phase 2 stream, where everyone had enough of them because of their ego and empty promises of taking a break from challenge running. This will lead to the first born steps of UDCC.
We're finally at the end. This truly was an Undertale/Deltarune Challenge Community Iceberg. Thank you for watching.
Cheeto.
French fries, middle-sized nuggets, 6 pieces, big cheeseburger, 2 cheese sauces.